Students, in today's class, we are going to learn about the multiplication and division of negative numbers. As in the previous class, I told you about the negative numbers and some tips that we can use along with these negative numbers. So let's revise those tips first. Okay, so first of all, as we need to deal with some negative numbers, so you must know these things. Okay, so if we have two positive signs or two negative signs, basically they are called the like signs. Fine. And if we have one positive, one negative, or one negative, one positive, these are basically called unlike signs. Okay, so the tips that we discussed in previous one exercise, they were related about the addition or subtraction of the negative numbers, but today we are going to discuss about multiplication and division as well. So for these two mathematical operations, the tips are a bit different in a way. Like previously I told you, like if you have like sign, so you will be using the like sign again. But for the multiplication of these numbers, like if we want to multiply them together, okay, so for multiplication, these tips will be a bit different. Okay, so for multiplication, basically positive if we are using, so they are like if we are multiplying them together, so they are going to have the positive sign. And if we have the negative sign together, negative after multiplication would be a positive number. Fine. Both numbers, if we have the like signs after multiplication, would become a positive number. But if we have unlike signs, so positive, negative after multiplication or either division, similar rules for the division as well are there. For after multiplication would be a negative sign, and similarly here as well, these two signs after multiplication would be negative sign again. Here no need to check either the greater number or the smaller number, just simply you will multiply the numbers. If unlike signs are there, you will use the negative signs, and if like signs are there, so you will use the positive sign. So let's start the questions and then you will be more clear about this. So as your first one is positive 2 multiplied with negative 4. So for this, you can check that positive, negative is negative. So as unlike signs are there, so directly we would be using the negative sign, and for 2 times 8. That's it. Okay. Next, we are going to have the second part, that is positive 7 times positive 4. As both numbers are positive, so positive would be positive. Again, like sign is there. So this would be 7 4 times we can go with, and along with that positive sign. Okay, let's go on with sixth part. As in sixth part, they gave us both negative numbers. Like we have, no, sorry, this is fourth part. We have negative 6 times negative 4. Again, these are basically the like signs. So like signs would be having the similar sign for the addition and subtraction, but for multiplication, negative would be positive, and 6 4 times would be 24. Okay, these in this way, the multiplication and the division as well will work. Okay, so let's do some other questions as well. So this was part number 4. Let's try some of the parts that are basically having the unlike signs. So let's see about 8 part. We have negative 4 times positive 3. Again, positive negative is negative, and 4 3 times would be 12, as unlike signs are there. So we are going to use the similar unlike sign. Okay, let's see about 10th part, as we have negative 1 into 1 by 2 times negative 6. Okay, as here we have a mixed number, so we can change it into fraction part like with the improper fraction. So 2 1 times 2 plus 1 would be 3 by 2, along with that negative sign as well, and times by negative 6. Here you can do some cancellation if you want, like 2 3 times is 6. Then negative 3 times by negative 3. So as both are again the like sign, so negative would be positive, and 3 3 times 9. So this is basically the way to solve the numbers that are with the multiplication with the positive or either negative signs. Okay, let's check that how we can work on with the questions that are having the division sign. So similar rules are there for the division as well, and you know how to work on with the division for some of the questions that are basically having some whole numbers. So if we need to divide -8 by 2, uh like this as well, you can write it down, but otherwise directly as well, this is fine. So 2 4 times is basically 8, and now we need to check for the sign. So positive negative is negative. So as with 8 we have negative sign, so mm, that positive and negative would become negative, because these are basically showing us the unlike signs. Okay, unlike signs will give us a negative sign, so that's why I've used the negative sign here with the 4. Okay, let's see for part number 12. We have plus 12 dividing by positive 3. Again, both are having similar sign, okay, like signs. So positive, positive would be positive, and 3, 4 times is basically 12. Just you need to keep on dividing, and you will use some randomly the signs as well. Okay, let's see with part number 18 how we'll be solving this. We have -3 dividing with positive 5. Okay, this time the division is not showing us a proper fraction. This is basically showing us an improper one. This one, the 12th one, this was improper in this way that we have 12 in the, like if we are going to show it according to the fractional part, this will be 12 by 3. Okay, so we are going to get a whole number part, but this time we have -3 and that needs to be divided with a positive 5. So positive negative is negative, so we can write -3 by 5. Or even you can change it into the decimal part as well. But right now I'm just showing you how we can change it according to the fractional part. So this will be basically -0.6. Okay, you can convert it into decimal part as well, a decimal number as well. Otherwise, if you are showing it into the fractional part, that is also fine. Okay, let's see how we can go with the part number 20th. So we have 20th part as -0.02, and we need to divide it by -100. Okay, so for this division, we have negative, negative, positive. Okay, as I told you that if we have like sign, so we will be using the similar sign again, and we need to divide the 0.02 by 100. So as of 100 after division, your number after the decimal point, we are going to have two more zeros along with this 1 0. So we are going to have 3 zeros with this 2. Okay, so division basically increases the zeros over here, or I like if we are dividing directly by hundreds or tens or thousands, so it will be easier for you to divide it. Okay, let's see for some of the other parts as well. Like for example, let's see how we will be solving this 24th, as this one is having fractional part like this. Okay, so fractions can't be solved with the positive division sign. They will be solved unless you will change this division sign into the multiplication. For that, your next fraction is going to be reversed. So this -1 by 2 would be as it is. Division sign I'm going to change into multiplication, and this +1 by 2 would be changed into +2 by 1. Okay, you can write in this way as well. This 2 would be cancelled out with this 2. Cancellation as well you can do, and positive negative would be -1, 1 times 1. Okay, so in this way, if fractions are being given, so you can use the division accordingly. Okay, let's go on with the some more complex questions. Let's see how we can go with 28th part. Again, they gave one part as a whole number and one part as a fractional. And also they gave us the division sign. So it's better to change this division sign into multiplication. And this -1 by 3 would be changed into -3 by 1. Okay, or simply you can write -3 as well. So again, negative, negative would be positive, and 6 3 times would be 18. So you can check that if I was having the like sign, so I'm going to change them accordingly. Like positive, positive would be also positive, and negative, negative will be also positive. Okay, let's go on with the division of three numbers, multiplication and division as well. So this 31st part is having the multiplication of three numbers together. We have -3 times -2 and times it by -1 as well. Okay, all these numbers you can multiply together as well, but check your sign first. Negative negative would be positive and positive negative would be negative. Because when we are going to multiply these two negative negative signs, they are going to give you a positive sign. But this positive and negative will makes you give, like this will give you negative sign again. Because firstly, we were having some like signs and now we are having unlike signs after the multiplication. So now as you got the sign, so you can multiply all these numbers together, like 3 2 times 6 and 6 1 times 6. So this is your part number 31. Okay, let's start the next question. That is 33. Let's see how we can solve this one, as we have one number that is a decimal number, positive 0.4, and we need to divide it with negative 1. So as you know that if we are going to divide any number by number 1, we are going to get the similar number again. But the thing is that we need to be careful about the sign. So positive negative is negative again, but as your number 1, that is basically in the form of division. So negative 0.4, similar number. Okay. Okay, let's see the next question. 35th. Okay, randomly I'm just picking some question. 35th is positive 0.2 and we need to times it by negative 1000. So here we need to multiply it. So this is positive 0.2. Okay, first let's see about the sign that we need to use, as positive negative would be negative because these two are unlike signs. So we would be using a negative sign and we need to multiply 0.2 by 1000. So this will be like after decimal point, there is only one number. So 10 will be utilized to remove this from the decimal point, and then 2 zeros will be along with that. So this will be number negative 200. Okay. Okay, next is 36, in which again they gave us three numbers together, negative 7, negative 5 times by negative 1. So when we are going to multiply this, negative negative would be positive and positive negative would be negative, like this. Negative negative positive and positive negative would be negative. So 7 5 times 35 and 35 1 times would be 35 again. Okay, let's do the questions that they gave us at the last. Like we have part number 37th, in which we need to divide negative 14 by positive 7. So again, like first of all, sign we will be checking carefully. Positive negative is negative and 7 2 times is basically 14. So this is your 37th part. Now in 38, they gave this almost similar question, but they gave us negative 7 that is going to be divided by negative 14 this time. So as positive, negative, okay, this time they gave us both with like signs, like negative, negative, positive. And 7, when we are going to divide by like 14, so you can just make it into a fractional part, like positive 1 by 2, or either you can write it as a decimal number as well, that will be positive 0.5. Okay, so in this way as well, you can do the simplification. Next, let's see for 39th. We have positive 1 into 1 by 4, and we need to divide it by negative 5. So again, we are going to change this mixed number into a whole number. For that, for 1 times 4 and plus 1, this would be positive 5 by 4. And as we need to divide it by negative 5, so if like I will consider it as a fractional part again, because this one at this side they gave us a fraction part, so I'm just going to change it into fraction part again. So let's say that there is 1 under this negative 5. Okay, we can have this like if some whole numbers are there, we can have 1 under that. If we want to change it into a fractional part, then division sign as they gave us, so we need to change this division sign into multiplication so that we can reverse this one or invert this fraction to make it simplified. So positive 5 by 4, this division sign is going to be changed into multiplication, and we are going to write negative 1 by 5. Remember that the in signs, like if they give either positive either negative, inverting the fraction does not affect this sign. Okay, so sign will be similar exactly. So this 5 is going to be cancelled out with this 5, and positive negative would be negative. 1 over 4. That is the number remaining. Okay. So this is your part number 39th. Now the last part, they gave us the multiplication, one with a fraction and the other as a whole number. So let's see that how we can solve this. We have -6 times by -1/2 and times it by -30. Okay, so first we can solve this, like we can change it from the fraction part to the whole number to 3 times 6, cancellation as well as possible. We have -3, -1, -30. Okay, wait, as we have the negative multiplication signs as well, so we need to use those multiplication sign as well, like this. So negative negative would be positive, 3 1 times would be 3, positive 3, and this needs to be multiplied by -30. So here again we will be multiplying the signs first. So positive negative is negative, and 33 times would be 90. So this is basically the multiplication of three numbers. If they give us any fractional part and cancellation is possible, so you can first cancel out, make it simpler, and then simply multiply it. In these type of questions like multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction, but the thing is that we need to be very careful about the sign. Okay, because here we need to just deal with the signs. Sometimes we have like signs and sometimes we have the unlike signs. For multiplication and division and for addition or subtraction, the rules that we are going to use to add or subtract these numbers, we need to be careful and just remember these rules and then it will be okay. So this is your exercise 1.2. Hope so it's clear. See you in the next class. Allah Hafiz.